Hey everybody, how are you? I thought there was going to be a countdown, but we went straight into the video. So I'm just going to go live over on Instagram, waiting for that connection to go ahead and waiting for a couple of people to pop on before we go ahead. So hello Instagram, you're also welcome along. I'm doing a broadcast here over on Facebook and YouTube on my laptop and over here on the phone on Instagram. And I'm going to be talking today about a very, very important lesson. It is a lesson all about this word that really bounds a lot of us to our present and past results, and it's called fear. And it's real, and it's actually not real, but it feels so blooming real too much of the time. So it's a little bonus session of all my sessions done that I do with my clients from Monday to Thursday. But as promised, we had an internet connection issue on Tuesday evening, and I promised to do a bonus session. So as I'm doing the bonus session for you guys in the academy, I'm helping everyone from all of our other Facebook groups and YouTube and all these beautiful people over here on Instagram to join us. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about fear, big B. It's a good thing. You feel it in your body. You see it in your behavior, and you don't flipping want it. But here is the deal. Just like night follows day, and just like the summer will follow spring, and the winter will follow autumn, it seems as though there is going to be a cycle, maybe on a weekly basis, certainly on a monthly basis. I would say definitely on a weekly basis, where you are going to encounter a symptom of fear. You may not necessarily know that it's fear that you're going through or that you're dealing with, but you're going to be dealing with it. So let's just get it out there. Let's talk about it today in this short video on these platforms and on Instagram. I'm in my office now. If I want to tidy my office, I'm not going up into the attic and starting there. I'm not going to go out into the shed and start there. These are three main areas that I tidy a lot: the office, the attic, and the shed. If I want to tidy the office, I go to the blooming office. It's what you just got to deal with. The office is messy, clean the office. When we want to talk about some of the problems that are going on in our life, especially around money, and I know we attract an awful lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, you got to really get real with fear and money, and how your relationship with money is also conjuring up states of fear. And it is very, very impossible to be in a creative attraction type of a zone when you're living in a fear vibration. Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about what your relationship is with fear, and especially around around money, because I could talk all day long about fear in the body. Fear in the body manifesting as nausea and loss of appetite in the stomach is a whole different kind of fear. Fear manifesting as back pain and sleeplessness is a whole different type of fear. I dealt with fear and anxiety an awful lot in my decade working in the field of Chinese medicine and acupuncture. So I could do a whole weekend, a whole week talking about that word, but I'm particularly going to focus in on fear and our relationship with fear, how it's affecting our relationship with money, investments, income, and trying to attract the blooming stuff and keep it with us. Okay, so there's, for you guys in the academy, of course, in our workbook, the Thinking into Results manual, lesson 7 is all about fear and the terror barrier. And when the minute you step out and decide you're going to do something new, you don't have the identity of being somebody who's living with that state that you're aspiring to go to, because you've never done it before. And when we're unfamiliar, we also straight away will start to conjure up symptoms of fear. Make this very, very basic for everybody who follows me on different social media platforms. Every year when I go up to put out the Christmas lights, it's raining, it's wintry. I'm going up a ladder, which is not a familiar state for me. We were building a new shed and a new studio for the company outside, and the guys they were doing the roofing, and they just very nonchalantly said, pat me up something. And I was climbing up ladders and scaffold, and I was really like a fish out of water. I really could feel discomfort. I was smiling because this is what I teach all the time. That's a normal, natural state of fear. It's good. It's preserving me in my life. It's like, what are you doing going up a ladder, dummy? You're not really good at ladders. What are you doing? If I'm doing the Christmas lights, or if I'm handing up a hammer or something to the lads up on the building site, I'm going up ladders. My body's going to feel a little bit scared, a little bit uncomfortable. That's a good use of the state of fear. Oh, hang on a second. I'll just get myself my battery charger. Is it home? Awesome. Good. Stay with me a moment. So an unnatural state of fear could be symptomatic, or these could be some of the symptoms of fear using you, fear having too much of an effect on you. Sorry about that interruption. I just grabbed my battery cable. So let's look at some of the symptoms of fear, especially when it's around poverty, when it's around money. Actually, do you know what? I'll go back and I'll look at the 6 ghosts of fear, the 6 states of fear, as detailed in a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's probably one of the foundation books in the world of personal development. And it's still very relevant today to the human mind. The world has changed an awful lot in the 100 years since this book was written, but the human condition and our own basic fears have stayed pretty much the same in my experience of treating people in acupuncture and also dealing with people in a mindset platform. I can see how fear, there's a great phrase, it takes the charm from people's character. It can turn people into little monsters. They don't even recognize themselves sometimes when fear really does a number on you. Okay, so let's listen to the 6 basic fears, and then we're going to focus today on fear and fear around money. So the first 3 strongest fears that Napoleon Hill outlines in this book is the fear of poverty. So that doesn't mean you're afraid that you're going to end up on the street, but we are a little bit overreactionary in our prehistoric parts of our mind that we do catastrophize things, that we do get to the, oh, what about if this all happens? You know, I've seen really successful grown adults, you know, who've got great families, great houses, these tree-lined driveways and beautiful opulent cars, getting into a state of, you know, overreaction around the worst possible outcome. So at that moment, I'm able to take them by the hand and say, hey, come on over here and see the way you're really cool and calm and successful and amazing. See what fear is doing to you at this present moment. Like, we don't need to move forward or we don't need to quit, but right now in this moment, just see your relationship with fear. And they're like, isn't that the damnedest thing? Wow, God, I don't even recognize myself, Declan. Cheapers, you're right. It can really make us go a little bit loopy sometimes. The fear of poverty. You're not going to be thrown out in the street, but it's like, what about if money leaves me? Now, I said already, we're going to talk about what that is, why money and fear seem to go hand in hand a little bit sometimes. If we're going to make a new investment, if we're going to make a purchase, there's so much indecision that goes on. And it can make us uncomfortable. The same type of discomfort one feels going up a ladder, or if you're going around the cliffs and maybe you've got some children with you, or an animal or a dog or something, you say, come back, you know, you start to get nervous. You're okay, you know you're responsible for your own body, your own steps you're going to take on that cliff walk or up the ladder. But if it's other people, especially your children, you're like, mind yourself, be careful, come back. Or if you're bringing strangers to a place that they're unfamiliar with, you're really cautioning them. But why does it go like that when you're literally taking something you value less, which is money, and you're trying to acquire something you value more, which is experience or contacts or something that's going to grow? Like, I was given an opportunity for an investment this week where I would take 25,000 US dollars, and that would be compounded over $2,500 a month, over and over and over, easy peasy lemon squeezy. I know that 10%, I'm not getting that monthly from my bank. I'm not getting it monthly. And straight away I started going to, but what about if this happened? The people I've been dealing with are extremely trustworthy. It's you know, the proof is there. They're cool. They're like, do it or don't. You know, it's not a heavy sale. And immediately I was like, but what if? But what if? You know, I know how it happens. I'm no expert here telling you that I'm above you in any way, shape, or form. It's always going to happen. You get people who are millionaires and they're like, will I buy that jet that would put me in the status of a billionaire? Everybody, no matter what stage you're at, when you're deciding to move in a new direction and there's a conversation around money, which again is this man-made construct, it's what did Matthew McConaughey say in The Wolf of Wall Street? It's a fugazi, it's a fugazi. I mean, we don't even handle pretty much 5% of the money that we have. It's digits in a bank account on a sheet of paper, on a screen, on your app. Like, we barely even touch that money anymore. It's all digital, it's non-physical. So it really shouldn't be doing a number on us like it does. But let's talk about it, okay? Why? What is it? So Napoleon Hill outlines that he starts off with the 6 basic fears: the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of the loss of love of people, the fear of old age, and the fear of death. Now, I know there's all other fears like fear of public speaking, fear of elevators, fear of flying, but these are all like the leaves and the branches of a tree. The root causes are those 6 big chunky roots, okay? So if it's the fear of flying, well, it's probably the fear of death. If it's the fear of the loss of love of people, it's staying in a relationship that's not serving you for too long. You know, even though they're not treating me well, I'm going to lose their love, or I might lose the love of my in-laws, or I might lose the love of all of our friends that are connected together because we know each other, you know. The fear of the loss of love of people it was definitely one that I had to learn to overcome and create boundaries in my life, because relationships were really affecting me negatively. So the fear of poverty was there, but it's gone now, thanks be to God. Not because I changed my financial circumstances. On the contrary, when I changed the way fear was doing a number on me, and it was like the fear of how I dealt with money and how my relationship was with money, it was like I was a puppet on a string, and I had all these goals and wishes and dreams and ambitions and belief and faith, but the minute money was there, it was like, nah. Sorry, buddy, I'm in control here. So I didn't get my financial results and then change my relationship with money and fear. I changed my relationship with money and fear, and then got my financial results. I made investments that I normally wouldn't have. I invested in myself, most of all with personal development, with having coaches, with being around communities of people that would stretch me, that would get me to talk like this, think like this. For 18 months, I was like minus 35,000 in debt when I first fell into a video about personal development. And then I got talking to the people who represented this company and wanting them to teach me what they knew. I could feel their spiritual awareness. I could feel their strength of character. I could feel their discipline. I wanted that so bad, but I couldn't invest in for 18 months. Well, I could invest, but my paradigm, my fear was gripping me to, the hell you are changing, buddy. You're staying right here in this fear zone. Someday it'll change. Keep doing the lotto. That's definitely going to happen. Work your ass off harder. That's how you're going to do it. So let's look at the fear of poverty and how I want you to just think about one of what I'm going to read out. You're going to be able to identify with loads of these. Remember, human beings were created millions of years ago over time, or whatever way you can say it's 2,000 years ago, depending on your belief. But we have inherited fear of money. Go back 1 or 2 generations, because I said we talk about what it is. We talk about the fear and money. We're going to go back why that has happened. Well, I look a lot like my uncles in Tipperary, where my mom comes from. I talk like them. I joke like them. My mom often says, "Oh my God, whatever you looked at me there, you're like my brother Hugh." So genetically, we're conditioned from even before we're born. We have this this future ahead of us that's guaranteed. I was at running 2 days ago. All of the little primary schools here in Southwest Kerry met in the Carsavine field, and there was running going on. And I was talking to moms and dads, "Who's that child now? And who's that child?" And the minute they'd say who their mom or dad was, I'd be like, "Oh my God, yeah, he looks just like his granddad, or God, he's the head of his uncle." And that's it. Like, so we're genetically programmed to look like our predecessors, our uncles, our aunties, our grandparents. But if we've inherited physical traits, then perhaps we can also inherit emotional traits, fears. We can, we see people walk like their uncles and aunties. They talk like them. They're into the same things. You'll have, "Oh my God, sure, all the Driscolls are singers, and sure, all the Sullivans are great dancers, and all the McCarthy's are great footballers." Like, we inherit physical traits, then surely we can inherit emotional traits. So if you go back 1 or 2 or 3 generations, especially here in Ireland, where I'm broadcasting from, there wasn't a lot of money around going back a few decades, so poverty was a constant mindset, lack, scarcity. These were states of being. So you go to one generation, which is like, I'm 42 now in September. So I was an 80s child, and, as Tommy Tiernan said one time, butter vouchers, and, we've got to tighten our belts, and we're living beyond our means. And, there was a heavy kind of a feeling about don't speak well of things. There was I was at a talk one time. I was looking at these ladies, and the woman on stage was talking, or it wasn't on stage. She was at a presentation, like it was an Irish Country Women's Association meeting or something like that. And I saw these ladies, and I thought the woman on the stage was really inspiring. At the front of the room was really inspiring. And they were like, "She's all confidence, that one." That's the way they said it, like confidence was a bad thing. She's all confidence. So like, you go back a couple of generations or even a few decades, and lack of money was really there. So first of all is, what is it? We all experience it. I want the flipping car, but this one is 1,000 cheaper, 500 cheaper. I don't want it, but I go for it because it's cheaper. So you have to really just wake up today and just see how it's affecting you. You look at the burger. Now, burgers used to be 15 or 14.99 or 15 in pubs and restaurants. These really nice burgers we've started to see in the country in the last 15 or 20 years. Now the burgers are up to €21, like inflation and all that stuff. And people are like, They used to go for the burger instead of the steak because the steak was 25, 28 euro, €5 supplement, whatever way. The fillet was more, look, I won't go for the fillet, I'll go for the sirloin. And then it was like, I won't go for either steak, I'm going to go for the burger. But now the burger is heading up into the 20s. So what we need to do is, I've learned over the years of working with people in personal development, that when people talk about, I want financial freedom, that they have a kind of a misconception about what that actually is. Financial freedom doesn't mean you have to be taking your children to school in a helicopter and turning into some absolute asshole because you're filthy rich now. Financial freedom is literally just being able to make choices. If the children need new shoes, you go, okay, we need new shoes. That it doesn't become, you want to have that feeling that it doesn't become, oh my God, that's €75, or oh my God, the shoes he wants is 100, or a new jersey is out. Oh my God, the new jersey is on. Sure, they got the other one last year. So it's not that you're better or worse than anyone. It's just that you're improving your own circumstances to be able to make choices. That's it. That to me is the definition of financial freedom. You make choices, all your bills are paid. You don't wake up in the morning like I used to and have that beautiful sense of bliss for about 10 seconds before the reminder that you are in debt, you are behind, would hit me like a really hard punch in the stomach. And it was nauseating. And then that goes up into your head and it causes the frown lines. And then throughout the day, it's hitting your self-esteem. Fellas are talking about going away for a stag for 2 days, and you're like, I don't know what, I don't think I'll bother. I have something on, because you're thinking the price of the hotel, the amount of drink, the travel. Are they going to come up now with a game of golf in the middle of it, or are we going to do some freaking archery that's going to cost another 50 quid? Like, you don't want to be feeling that way. It goes from your stomach to your chest to your heart up into your head, and that lowers a man's self-esteem. Probably the same for ladies as well. But particularly, I can only relate to being an Irish man and what that felt like being a dad, not being able to say, come on, we're all going to Spain. Let's just do it. Who cares? Don't worry about how much it costs. Come on, we're all going off to see Liverpool a few weeks ago. Don't worry about it. Let's just go. Instead of getting into a taxi in the rain and then waiting at the train station in Manchester to go across to Liverpool and then waiting for a bus or walking and queuing, I'm like, no. We've got a black Mercedes van that's going to take us from door to door and then pick us up again and bring us home. It's just about making choices. It's not being better or worse than anyone. To me, that's financial freedom. You want to get a set of golf clubs, you're not getting the cheapest set from the internet, which was that. And I go out with fellas then who had lovely clubs, and I'm like, like, just not even showing mine, not even talking about them. Where'd you get them? They're just an old set. I just would quickly change the subject. So that's my experience of financial freedom: making choices because you want to, reading the menu and deciding you like the way the chef has described the food you're about to eat, and not letting your eyes scan to the other side of the page. Because it really is just, you're not even thinking when you're doing that. Because if you looked at how much you're going to pay for a tank of diesel, and you actually scoured around the same town you're in, you could find maybe €4 or €5 cheaper elsewhere. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but you buy a coffee, you don't question, is it $3.50 or $2.90? And all these little pences add up throughout the week. But if you're going to take your family for lunch and you're thinking cheap, by the end of the day, it could be a €20 difference to go somewhere really opulent and really nice. It could be 25, €30, but that €30 goes elsewhere. So you're adjusting your quality of life and experiences and lowering your own self-esteem with a constant repetition of, I don't have it, I don't have it, I don't have it, I don't have it yet. And that only is tomorrow's results and next week's results and next month's results and 6 months' results when you stay on that level. I did that for 18 months and it absolutely stopped. It was the greatest, one of the greatest gifts that I give myself, in a sense, was to be living with an awareness of the change, having the cure like right in front of me, knowing the people that can help me, but being afraid to make that financial investment and take that step because I don't have it. So the more I kept saying I don't have it, I didn't have it. The minute I said, sweetheart, I know there's a few grand on the credit card and I know I get a loan from the credit union, I have to do this. I've been 18 months thinking, knowing how to change my life, knowing how to change my mindset. I didn't even ask for this mindset, but I've been born with it. It's been educated over working in restaurants and pubs, having my heart broken, trying and failing. My mindset is the way it is now, and I've tried to change it on my own for 18 months. I know these people can help me. I'm just going to do it. And she's like, yeah, just go do it then. The minute I made the decision, everything started to change. I figured out the money. It was about $6 grand. Got my coach, got my material, and rolled up my sleeves, got my head back in the books, and changed everything. One of the main things I changed was my vibrational resonance around that thing called money. The minute I made that decision, it was almost like, damn, let's say there's the the good little voice and the bad little voice. The bad little voice was like, you stay here. You stay right here. I don't care all the ambition you have. I don't care if you're listening to Tony Robbins and Bob Proctor and you're reading affirmation. I don't care. You stay right here, buddy. This is your life circumstances. That's all you deserve. This is your self-image. This is who you are. This is who you're going to be. And it's not like some kind of spirit or ghost, any of that bullcrap. It is your own mind. It's your own. There's so many different names for it. But my mentor, Bob Proctor, would call it our paradigm. A set of beliefs, a set of thoughts, a set of awarenesses that you have, and that's all you're ever going to be. And it holds you tight. Now, don't look at it as a negative, because every Christmas, if I overindulge with some alcohol or food, it also kicks in January, and it's like, hang on a minute, you're not going to live this way. You got to up your game, buddy. So it would bring you from the depths of despair and worry back up to a state of, satisfaction. But then if I went to ambition and I'm going to get there, to be like, yeah, there's a good lad. Back down here now again. So an awful lot of people that we help in our academy, they start out, they're not really badly off. They're not like flying it, but they're at this level, and they know they've been at this level, and it seems like they're kind of, their wheels are moving, but they haven't, their wheels are moving, but they haven't been lowered onto the road so they can spin off. They're like, I know there's that next level, and that seems to be who we attract into our company. People who know they're successful, they've got it, but they still feel some of the old kind of things that are holding me back. It's like, I can't get it, Declan. I don't know what it is. So I'm just going to talk about one of them today. Let's look at some of the symptoms. And I want you even to take one of them. I bet you'll be able to take many of them. This is what the fear of poverty does to the human condition, okay? Now, the fear of poverty is a state of mind and nothing else. But it's sufficient to destroy a person's chances of achieving what they want to achieve in life in any undertaking. The truth, which will become painfully evident, and it came during hard times, and it became painfully evident during the recession. It became painfully evident in the Great Depression of 100 years ago in the United States. Listen to what it does to the human person. It paralyzes our ability to reason. So you've been on a call with somebody for half an hour. You're like, yeah, I can see. And the minute they mention money, you lose your ability to reason. I went to the shoreline last night with my son, and he won. He got a bronze medal in the community game, or in a school race the other day. But he ran and he bust his ass and he bust his legs actually. So his quads are really tight for the first time. He's 9 years of age. He's never had an injury. And we're standing at the shoreline, and he's gone into the water in January, in February, and March. But yesterday he was like, it's too cold. I don't want to go in. It's the same water temperature. So he couldn't reason with it that he would go in, and he started getting emotional, and he was like, can I just go back up and have a cold bath? So that's the inability to reason in that moment. So the fear of the cold, the fear of the wind, totally get it. Go in there, his legs would be replenished. I was like, no worries, man, go up into the bath. I would say you get a temperature gauge. It might not be too much of a difference, but the reasoning factor gets altered when money comes in, and your relationship with money is off. Your relationship with your own fear is off. So the fear of poverty, it paralyzes your ability to reason. You can't think reasonably or rationally at all. That's something that should really give us all a kick in the backside this morning. Are you telling me that that's what happens? Because I've been there. Yeah, I want something. I really want that dress. I really want those shoes. And I look at them and it says 75. And when I go to the till, I realize there was somebody else with the wrong tag on it and it's 150. And I go, oh. You straight away, you don't go, okay, well, I want them anyway. It's straight away, the fear of spending that money on myself. Oh, I thought different. You can see it, and you've all been there. There's that moment of you change in that one moment. That's the paradigm. That's this is who you are. This is what you're worth, stepping in and using fear, which is a state of mind, and using money, which again it's something we've created. Human race has created this. It uses it against us. It's incredible. And I really want you just today, take 20 quid and just spend it on yourself. You didn't have it planned until you saw this video. Just take out an extra 20 quid and just treat yourself. It just is going to make you feel good. Give it away to somebody. Turn it into 4 or 5ers and tip people today. Tip the person who gives you the coffee. Coffee's 3 quid. That's for you. What? And just watch how that little money you've given away makes such a difference to that transaction, to that moment, to that barista. That's for you. Thank you. You always give me great coffee. Go and do something. They're like, oh, thanks. It seems like nothing. You lose it in the flipping car. You buy 1 pint and it's gone. It's gone into the toilet in an hour. Just do it. It'll change your whole day. So you're now changing how you reason about money. 20 quid? I'm not wasting 20 quid, Declan. You're not wasting it. You're going to change 4 lives today. You're going to change how they feel, and you're going to walk away feeling amazing. I promise you. Give it to someone on the street who needs it. Give the whole 20 to someone on the street. But they'll use it for drink. What do you care? Give it to them. You don't need it anymore. It destroys the faculty of our imagination. Oh, hallelujah, it does. Faith and fear are two things that are asking you to look at the future, but in a different way. Faith is going, you'll get there. Look, I know it's 25,000, but that guy is totally credible. And the guy that has taught him this, Declan, he's brilliant. When has that guy ever led you astray? Like, that 25 grand is sitting in the bank doing absolutely sweet feck all. This guy's legit. You know him. You've been friends for years. And this is the guy who's helped him. Just do it. Don't be afraid. That's my new mindset. My old mindset is, but what if? But what if? You know? So my imagination is being, if you could picture in the old chariots, you know, they'd be up in the chariot, they'd have 2 reins, they'd be holding the reins. It's almost like my imagination, the fear and the money fear has grabbed my imagination, something that I've used to create a business that just changed my life and helped other people to change their lives, to build this house, to change all of our circumstances in 5 years. My imagination, using something I was given, we were all given at birth, to think about how I wanted to be, and watched for those tiny little moments where I could just go after one little thing, follow a natural progression of, I think it's working, and follow it. My imagination has been a superpower. The first time I was ever interviewed for a podcast, they asked kind of funny, quirky questions, and he says, if you could have one superpower, what would it be? And I didn't even know the question. I was like, oh, I have one. And he's like, really? I was like, yeah. The human imagination is the greatest superpower we all have. We can think about what we want and make it happen. He was like, I like that. He didn't expect the answer, nor did I. It just came out of me. So the fear of money gets inside your body instantly and changes your imagination. I've seen that ruin people. I have done a good deed. I've paid money of my own for it. Just the next thing, someone's like, why are you doing that? I can see their imagination is being taken to, what's he really doing? What's behind this? And that says more about them than it does about me. But why would you do that? I don't get it. I don't. So their imagination, it's like someone has taken the reins and it's expecting the worst instead of, that can't be. There's no way he would pay that money and give that and just donate it for no other reason. So it's quite interesting. And I've seen it in me and I see it in others a lot, actually. Again, our team, they could be on a call with someone for an hour and they'd be feeling bad that that person didn't go ahead and join the academy, whatever it may be. And I would console them and say, listen, think about what you learn with me. The imagination, that person, you nearly invite them around for a cup of tea. You nearly say, listen, I'm going out for a minute. Would you mind my kid? You get to know them so intimately in that hour. The minute they talk about money, it turns them into like little monsters. The imagination goes, but this must be bad, So our imagination, the fear of investing in ourselves, the fear of spending money, the imagination comes in, the old paradigm comes in, and it uses our gorgeous, beautiful, creative imagination against us and gets us to catastrophize the situation and say, but what if, every day is a risk. You're always risking. And when you want to take something that seems like a calculated, necessary risk, it's like, nope. And we don't know why. And we go away and distract ourselves. And soon enough, we'll be back to the normal equilibrium we were at. And we'll forget about the opportunity we had. And it really is the difference between 3% that make it and 97% that don't. That moment of, okay, I'm scared shitless, but I'm doing it. I'm in. Let's go. That is amazing. I look back at 2015, Declan. I want to go back and say thank you. I know you were so scared, but oh my God, thank you for what you've done. Wait till you see the future that's ahead of you. I was scared, but I couldn't keep listening to that what's that song by Sean? What's his name? There's nothing holding me back. My own paradigm was holding me back. Not bad, not good, just is. You stay here, mister. Nope, you don't spend it. Nope. And I see business people who are like, it might be 6 or 7 grand or something to invest in themselves to study with us. And next thing it's like, I paid 25 grand for, 5 grand for an ice machine, or I paid 75 grand to upgrade the lift that was lifting the cars up. I was like, well, was the other lift okay? It was okay, but I wanted to upgrade it. Would it have done for another few years? No, it would have, but I just saw another fella had this one and I wanted this one. So they'd upgrade a lift in their mechanics 75 grand or more, but they wouldn't like pay it on themselves to get rid of their fear. And where else does that fear show up? And he was talking about it would show up on taking his children on a holiday. It would show up on the sideline when he'd be like losing his temper at a match, and it would show up with his relationship with his brother. And there was all these like really wonderful moments. And then it's like, spend money on me? Are you kidding me? What? So the fear can come in and take our imagination from us and make it all into some silly. And really, here's a line that's coming up at the moment. Let's read all of them and see which. I'm just going to read them without explaining them and see what you can relate to. It paralyzes our ability to reason. It destroys the faculty of imagination. It kills off your own self-reliance, relying on other people, relying on the government. It undermines your enthusiasm. It discourages your initiative. You know, you've got initiative. You want to do things. And you know when you show initiative, when the chips are down and when you're stuck or when someone needs you, oh my God, the initiative then. But when you've got your initiative and there's something where you've got to take this stuff you value less, which is money, for something you value more, which is the new part of your life, the paradigm's like, no, Declan, we're not worth that. No, Sinead, you're not worth that. No, John, what are you talking about? Don't mind that. Stay here. Put on the telly. Quickly distract yourself. I've got you, and you're back to where you were. You know, it really kills our initiative. Imagine that. You know, imagine that something that we have that we can learn to overcome, which is FEAR, false evidence appearing as real. It's only imagination turned against us. The fear paralyzes your ability to reason. It destroys your own imagination that is so creative. It kills off your own self-reliance. What'll I do? What do you think? Where'll I go? What'll I do? It undermines your own enthusiasm. It discourages your own initiative. It leads to you being uncertain of purpose and changing jobs and changing careers and changing strategies all the time. That is so draining on your money, and it's draining on the hours you have. That's where people say, I'd love time freedom. Usually when they say I'd love time, money, freedom, all I have to do is get in there and find out what is the root fear that is getting them to work their ass off and getting them to be afraid of spending money on things that'll shorten their time by a quarter. It's so easy. That's why I did as an acupuncturist. That's why I'm very good at doing this mindset work. Everyone presents with peripheral symptoms, and Chinese medicine teaches you to get right into the roots. The ben and the biao, the leaves and the roots. It's extraordinarily aligned. And an awful lot of the things that people present with, stress, insomnia, anxiety, stomach problems, it all goes back to mindset anyway. So that's how I transitioned from acupuncture to this work. Once I started studying it to improve my financial business, my results in my clients started to improve an awful lot because I started talking to them about a mind-body connection. So I would use my mindset work I was learning from Bob Proctor and my wonderful coach, Eva, and I would start talking to my clients about it. So the sessions were not just acupuncture and needles and chi and all the different stuff that goes with that, and the nutrition and the advice, the exercise, but also getting them to change their mind and change it was incredible, the transition. So then they were all like, you should be a coach, you should be a coach. And then I started to listen, and away we go. That's the story. So it leads to an uncertainty of purpose. It encourages you to procrastinate. Hands up, who's flipping procrastinates? Like me, I've 25 chapters of a book. I'm 5 in. I got all the first 5 done in the first 2 weeks, and I've stalled. I'm straight up procrastinating. Why? Because of another basic fear, the fear of criticism. What about if this book takes off and I'm now never going to be able to come back from my life where people are like, did you write that book? It was crap. Or, you know, like it's writer's block. I've never known what it was before, but here we are. That's it. I fear of the loss of love of people. What about if this takes off and I change and then everyone doesn't like me anymore? So there's 2 root fears that are pushing me around a little bit around this book. There you have it. Hands on my, as always, I teach with my heart on my sleeve and explain. I'm no better or worse than you guys. I'm just learning this a bit longer, perhaps, and using it. So I can see the fear. I know what it is. And I'm like, come on, Dec, let's get there. So all I have to do to get over it, because I've said, what is it and how is it doing a number on you? Now, how do you get over it? Well, here's the answer. For those of you in the academy, you already know this. I'm probably preaching to the converted, but as you can see, like 7 years on from when I first changed my life with mindset, I'm still now going through a new project, writing a book, and it's like, oh dear, God, all right, I'll do it in a minute. Oh, is that the kettle? I better make a coffee. Oh, hang on, I think I better go and clean the shed. I think when I went in there yesterday, it was a bit messy. So I'm procrastinating because of the fear of the loss of love of people, the fear of criticism. And I know it and I can see it, but I'm going to change it. But I didn't know what it was. So I would have been quarreling with my wife, perhaps irritated around my children, hard on myself because I wasn't getting things done. But now I can compartmentalize all the little things just because I've studied fear. And hopefully today in this short video with you guys on Instagram and all you guys on YouTube and all of our various Facebook groups, hopefully I've helped you to kind of get it, like throw a little bit of the weight off the shoulders, because so much of that fear causes so much bad behavior and it makes you then blame yourself. We're going to be doing a masterclass in a couple of weeks. If you're following me on Instagram, just go up into my bio and you'll see Linktree. That's it. In my bio, there's a link. Click on the link and you can join the bio. It's about day 3 or 4 of that masterclass. I'm going to be talking about none of the failures were your fault, because an awful lot of the things that made us fail, procrastination, not aiming high enough, not being persistent, distracting ourselves, getting distracted by outside forces, not believing in yourself, not having faith, going into it half-hearted. All of these things have a root, probably 1, maybe 2. And they are so easily explained. So day 3 is like the failures were never your fault. And today, hopefully, I've helped some of you to come a little bit closer to a little bit more relief, understanding that fear is a thing. It is always going to be there. Again, you go up a ladder, you go into a dark room, you go into a scary house in the forest some night, you're going to feel the fear. Even watching a movie, you can have a cushion over your head in your house, watching something on a screen on your flipping wall. So fear is a real deal. So stop being so bloody hard on yourself if you're a procrastinator, if you have uncertainty in purpose, if you keep changing, if you keep having, choosing the wrong partners, and because you don't believe you deserve someone nicer, and you keep going with these jerks, as it's a cycle, and it's usually caused by fear, and that fear is representing yourself as a low self-esteem, low self-image, low self-confidence. We can't help you with one Instagram video, with one YouTube video, with one book. Personal development is a way of life. And I want to tell you that you are personally developing every minute of every day. But are you developing in the process in the path that you want to, or are you developing along the same lines? And it's usually the latter. 97% of people, it's the latter. You are developing just because today is today, yesterday's history. So you have developed one day older. You're never going to not develop. And the worst form of development is when outside circumstances change. There's people that have lost their jobs. They've changed industries because of this thing called COVID-19. There's people whose businesses have quadrupled because of COVID-19, online-based businesses. One gentleman I spoke to, his life is in plastics. So all those signs that we were like 2 meters apart and wash your hands and all those yellow and black signs, they were producing an awful lot of the plastic for those in Ireland, like cha-ching. So change, external change is the worst way to change your life. That's what keeps people queuing for the lotto, hoping for the external change to change them. The internal work is not something you do overnight, and it's never something you do by yourself. That statistic, I feckin' hated those statistics. 97% of people don't get there. I was like, piddle off, But the more I do this, the more I see that margin. I work with the 3%. I study with the 1%. I learn from the 0.1%. And they're not better or worse than you guys. And typically, I always say my team, and the people I study with, my masterminds, the people I get to spend weeks with, talking about different things, we're the greatest bunch of misfits you ever saw. There's an engineer, an acupuncturist, a nurse, a banker, a recruiter, a pilot, a salesman, a teacher. Like, it's all these people that have just said, you know what? I need to find out what the hell this life thing is about. I don't want to be on my bed going into the next world in about 50 years' time as confused as I was when I was brought into the world, and I started crying, going, put me back in that warm place. What am I doing out here? We're very confused when we're born. We don't want to be very confused when we leave. So you want to find out in between what it's all about, and that's what we're doing with people from all over the world. It's a fantastic way to spend my days, helping people to understand all of the stuff, forgive themselves for mistakes they've made in the past, let it go, like it says in the Disney movie, just let it go, just let it go. And sometimes it's so hard to let it go, but it's not. It's a decision. It's not me. So you're telling me, Declan, that all that stuff that's happened in the past, that was caused by the same, yep, oh my God. And then it's just gone. and it's like a new person to your brothers and sisters, your community. You are going to look the same, probably will change. You will transform when you improve your self-image. You might improve your teeth or your hair or your skin or your style, the way you walk, but certainly people will feel it off you. You walk into a room and there's going to be this magnetic glow, this attraction. They call it the law of attraction, but it's actually the law of attraction is a symptom. The root change is the law of vibration, how you change. I'll give you a very, very funny example I use. If you're a few ladies in an office and all of a sudden then you're there and you're at your desk on a Monday and you look and then you do a double take because one of the 4 girls comes in, she's been out at the weekend, she's met a fella, they had a dance, they had a bit of dinner, it might have got into other areas of the human connection, and all of a sudden her hair is glower, her face is better. She's like, you're like, what happened to you at the weekend? You know, we see that. That's a, you know, let's all be a bit mature here now. There was a change in her inner vibration, okay? And all of a sudden she's changed. She's got this outer glow. You guys, that's what happens over time when you work on in personal development. That's what, it's the internal work first. It's represented in outside circumstances. And one of the biggest wastes of human life is people busting their ass to try and change the outside circumstances to then be happy. The if then I will mode. And it's got to go into schools, that's for sure. You got to learn to change the person inside, and then see the outside circumstances change, okay? But fear is doing a number on you. It's overreacting, and you need to learn what it is. You need to learn your relationship with it. For me, it used to be fear, the loss of love of people. Then it went to fear of poverty. Now it's back to the fear of criticism, fear, loss of love of people at this present moment with a present fear I'm dealing with. Improving my relationship with fear, my relationship with money has changed everything. And I really look forward to helping you guys in the Academy with this over longer periods of time. For those of you who might feel like, oh my God, I was meant to hear this video today. Well, you attracted it because this video happened by accident. We had no internet on Tuesday evening. The company that we, the supply chain went down, whatever you want to call it. And I said to the guys, I'm sorry I missed the day. I'm going to do a bonus on Friday. I decided to do fear. So you attracted this video. If it resonated with you today, hit me a DM. Let me know why. And I really recommend everybody that's watched it, you know, share it. Be surprised who is going to help. Everyone deals with fear. Everyone deals with fear of poverty at some point in their life, probably every day for the majority of us. So yeah, our masterclass is going to start really getting that out in a very authentic way, and then we'll take it from there. So someone's going to buy food from animal shelter today. Thank you. Many people have the thing that they need to do all by themselves, and this is linked to war. Sometimes when husbands are fighting and women are taking the kids in. Okay, interesting. Sarah Jane, good morning. Someone said it is for sure real, that the fear is real. It's appropriate this morning because I'm on lesson 7. She says, well, there you go. Somebody else says, apparently we're genetically taking over the fears from 4 generations back. I'd well believe it. Let's see who is talking to us over on the old Instagram. La 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 la. Wasn't Napoleon Hill charged with fraud? I don't know. And you know, I hear that a lot. Ireland's travel country. Don't mean to be party pooper, but wasn't he the most? He wasn't the most honest person. If you research him, I don't want to hear your view. Thank you for that. And I'm not going to dodge that question. Someone like, it's like, oh yeah, Napoleon Hill was a fraud and all that kind of stuff. Well, you know, Mozart was deaf, so he produced pretty good stuff. I think, I don't know how Napoleon Hill ended up, but what I do know is a lot of people who, like, I never met him. I am never going to meet him. Obviously, he's dead a long time. I'm probably never going to meet anyone from his family or his foundation. But what I do know is the principles in the book that he left behind has spread riches all around. If you're a religious person, you may have heard, remember now that thou art dust and into dust thou shalt return. Well, Napoleon Hill has returned to dust. The legacy that he has created, I don't know what he had in his bank account. I mean, maybe he declared bankruptcy to swindle money away somewhere else so that the people who take it and abuse it and use it for their own gluttony, like governments, maybe he did declare that he was broke and he was laughing. I don't know anything about what happened. What I do know is when I read his book, which he created, I learned a lot about decision making, and that's changed my wife and children's life, and my mom and dad, and different people I've been able to help, suppliers, builders. I've spread riches into the lives of other people because I read Napoleon Hill's book. So I think his legacy is the book, and I think that's astoundingly opulent and rich. That's my relationship with that name, Napoleon Hill. So yeah, there's always, and you're not a party pooper, but there's always people that kind of go, yeah, but fair enough. I think that's necessary. You know, we definitely should do our due diligence on who we listen to and who we follow. And I choose to ignore when I see criticism, because I know what this is directly done for me and what it's directly doing for the people. There's people that love that book. I know that Gandhi, for example, used to beat his wife based on stuff I've read, and the whole world claims Gandhi. You know, Nelson Mandela, Barack Obama is one of the most revered people, and he's responsible for bombing millions of people to death. You know, so I think we really start looking at lots of things. I say Obama's decisions, obviously, he said, yeah, let's go in and do this. George Bush, Tony Blair, and these people are walking free. So I think when you really start to really get into, but hang on a minute, you could just, I mean, how long is a piece of string? But I respect your question, and I hope you are. I love debate. I think that's something. This cancel culture is absolutely terrible to the human condition. We need to be able to. The original governments and departments, they were all founded on debate, and all the laws were brought around with debate and what's good for society and what's bad. And now it's like cancel culture and woke. Isn't that woke thing? You can't say this. Well, no, I mean, opinions need to be listened to and talked about. So I really appreciate your comment about Napoleon Hill. Let's scroll along. Okay, so yeah. Hey, Tara, congratulations on your recent certification. Tara Garner, good to see you, my dear. All right, so no more comments over on Instagram. Thank you, everybody, for joining me this morning. I hope you really enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little bit more about fear, and that I don't want you to spend your time thinking about fear and attracting it, but just think about the way you live your life and how is fear pushing you around a little bit more than it should be. Study it, study your relationship with it so that you can change it. As I said at the very opening paragraph of today or whatever monologue, I don't come into my office if I want to clean the shed. I go to the shed. I don't go out and start pouring water on my potatoes if I want to wash the car. I put the water on the car. So you need to go to the source of the problem, and fear is a big problem. Study it, understand it, learn about which one is driving you the most. It will change your life, honestly. And if you need help with that, as I said, hit the DM button. Let's have a conversation. And I especially recommend you join our masterclass. The link is in my bio on Instagram. And for those of you on Facebook or YouTube, just type in Connect to Success and type my name into Facebook, and to Connect to Success with Declan O'Donoghue Consulting, you'll find it there. All right, everybody, lots of love. Take care, everybody in the Academy. I'll see you on Monday at 7 a.m. And everybody on Instagram, we'll see you in the stories and all that good stuff. Bye-bye.